30-year-old Yi Hao makes only 5,000 a month. He just got dumped by his girlfriend because he's too poor. Right now, he's standing at the bus stop, staring at the numbers his childhood buddy Han Lei gave him. They match the lottery ticket in his hand perfectly. He thinks to himself, man, I really hope I win that 100 million. Once I win, to hell with being a corporate slave. Wouldn't it be great to just go back to my hometown and live the good life? At 11 a.m., Chen Guojiang announces layoffs in the conference room. He says loudly, our company is all about that wolf pack culture. Now that we've brought in the AI tool, Little Lobster, we're cutting 5 people from every team. A 25-person department is losing 20 people. The conference room instantly erupts into chaos. Yi Hao, you're the backbone of our department now. From now on, the work is all on you and Little Lobster. Work hard, I believe in you. Even though Yi Hao didn't get fired, and even got a 500 raise. He's the only one left to do all the work. He can only swallow his anger and nod. At 5:29 p.m., Yi Hao rushes into the lottery shop. The drawing on the TV has already started. The host announces the red ball number is 05. Yi Hao looks down, and actually matches the first number. His scalp instantly tingles. Right after that, the host continues to read out, 12, 18, 23, 27, 31. Yi Hao checks them one by one. He realizes all the red balls match. His hands start to shake. He freezes right where he stands. The final blue ball starts to roll. Yi Hao's palms are completely sweating. The host finally calls out the blue ball number, 08. Yi Hao's mind goes completely blank. He repeatedly checks the ticket numbers, the date, and the type. He checks it no less than 10 times before he finally dares to believe he really won 100 million. The lottery shop owner deliberately complains loudly that his own blue ball didn't hit, shifting everyone's attention away. Once the shop clears out, he lowers his voice and tells Yi Hao, I saw that ticket of yours. It's legit, a solid 100 million. At this moment, Yi Hao finally truly believes he actually won. At dusk, Yi Hao is walking down the street, feeling like this is the brightest sunset he's seen in his 30 years. On the phone, Zhang Keisai says coldly, Yi Hao, let's break up. Yi Hao agrees calmly. He even casually adds, oh, by the way, I didn't wear protection last time. Remember to go to the hospital and get yourself checked. Listening to the screaming on the other end of the line, he just hangs up. He feels absolutely fantastic. Back in his rented apartment, Yi Hao carefully hides the lottery ticket under his pillow. He thinks about how housing prices in Shenzhen are just way too high. Even with 100 million, he'd still just be an ordinary guy. But back in his hometown of Shaocheng, a villa only costs 2 or 3 million. So he mutters to himself, instead of staying in Shenzhen, being just another ordinary guy with 100 million, I might as well go back to my home county and live like a local king. Yi Hao looks up the prize claiming process, knowing that after the 20% income tax is deducted from the 100 million, he'll get 80 million in hand. He decides to donate 1 million to a children's foundation, leaving 79 million. He secretly warns himself, I'm taking this secret to my grave. I'm not telling a single soul. At 9 p.m., just as Yi Hao closes his eyes, his supervisor, Brother Zhang, calls to push him. Hey little Yi, the boss threw together a temporary project today. Hurry up, get in the group chat, check the requirements, and coordinate with Little Lobster. Work some overtime tonight. After hearing this, Yi Hao tosses his phone straight onto the nightstand, rolls over, and laughs. Overtime? Screw that, I'm going to sleep. The next day, Yi Hao dug out a baseball cap, a mask, and sunglasses, fully arming himself. He checked himself in the mirror and said with satisfaction, perfect. Even my own mom wouldn't recognize me. Winning 100 million, he absolutely couldn't let anyone take a picture of his face. Before heading out, Yi Hao carefully slipped his wallet into his inner jacket pocket, feeling relieved only when it was pressed right against his chest. Right at that moment, his phone started ringing. Oh, baby, you're so beautiful. He glanced at the screen. It was a call from Zhang Fugi. Hey, Xiao Yi, what the hell is wrong with you? Didn't I tell you to rush the project yesterday? So what? What, you got a problem with that? If you do, suck it up. Since you're in such a damn hurry, why don't you just go and do the project yourself? Do you want to lose your job? Whatever, just piss off. I know the client is a pain in the ass. But I'm just not doing it. Die mad about it, you bastard. He hung up right after, feeling absolutely fantastic. The phone started buzzing again. Yi Hao couldn't be bothered to pick up. He just opened his AI assistant and set it to auto-reject. The world instantly went quiet. He walked out the door, heading straight for the high-speed rail station, muttering, let's go. Time to claim the prize. At 9:40 a.m., Yi Hao stood at the entrance of the provincial lottery center. He took a deep breath and walked into the lobby. He walked up to the front desk and said, Hi, I'm here to claim a prize. First prize for the Powerball, times 20. The girl at the front desk froze. She immediately shot up from her seat. In less than 30 seconds, a swarm of staff members flooded into the hall. Some were verifying, some were registering. During those few minutes of waiting, Yi Hao's heart was in his throat until a staff member smiled and said, Sir, Your ticket is perfectly fine. Congratulations. Next came the claiming process. Filling out forms, signing papers, and paying taxes. 100 million minus 20%. Yi Hao walked away with 80 million. He also followed his plan from last night and donated 1 million to the Children's Foundation. During the group photo, everyone had huge smiles on their faces. Except for Yi Hao, who was fully geared up in his hat, sunglasses, and mask, hiding any trace of an expression. Once the paperwork was done, Yi Hao walked out of the lottery center. A text from the bank popped up on his phone, showing a deposit of 79 million. He stared at the message for a solid minute, finally believing that all of this was real. He thought to himself, time to quit. I've been wanting to leave this trash company for a long time. That bastard Yi Hao suddenly bailed on us. He made me drag everyone around to work all morning. Chen Guojang had just finished complaining when the new girl poked her head through the door. Someone's here outside. He says he's looking for you guys. Yi Hao, do you have any idea what you've done? Yeah, I do. Didn't I tell you to work overtime to catch up? The project files? The new girl already told me everything. You 3 supervisors busted your asses all morning. Man, that must have been so tough for you. The company has to pay 5,000 in penalty fees. That money is coming straight out of your paycheck. Don't even think about getting paid next month. Fine by me, since that's how it is. Then hurry up and process my resignation papers. Looks like you've already found your next job. That's none of your business. Hurry it up, your skills are trash anyway. Manager Zhang, go sort out his resignation paperwork. Make him sign it, and he's not getting paid for this month. Plus, as long as I'm around, don't even think about finding another job in Shenzhen's tech industry. Yi Hao yawned and said dismissively, all right, are you done talking? A bunch of useless idiots. You sure talk a lot of trash. Sign this and you can get the hell out of here. Yi Hao didn't even bother to read it. He flipped straight to the last page, signed his name, and tossed the pen aside. Done. See ya. With that, he turned and walked away. Yi Hao stepped out of the Niubi Entertainment Building. The sunlight outside was bright, the blue sky crystal clear. He looked back at the gray building where he had slaved away for 6 years and whispered, damn, quitting feels so good. Good riddance to you all. Goodbye, Shencheng. He then hailed a cab and left. Back at his rental apartment in the Emerald Bamboo Complex, Yi Hao first sent his landlord a text. He told them the lease was up at the end of the month and he wasn't renewing. Then, he started packing. Clothes, daily essentials, and his laptop. Everything he owned only filled 2 suitcases. This room had witnessed 5 years of his life as a corporate slave, but he didn't miss it one bit. Yi Hao booked a second-hand furniture buyer on his phone. 40 minutes later, a middle-aged man in a blue uniform showed up. After taking a quick look around, he offered $2,000. Yi Hao didn't even bother haggling. He just said, sure, deal. His phone quickly chimed, and $2,000 hit his account. The furniture was loaded onto a small truck and hauled away. Now, it was just Yi Hao and his 2 suitcases. He stood in the empty living room, looking at the faded wallpaper and the nail holes in the wall, thinking, alright. What's in the past is in the past. He then plopped down onto the floor. He noticed it was already 7 o'clock in the evening. Alright, what's in the past is in the past. His stomach was growling. Yi Hao opened his food delivery app. He ordered KFC without a second thought. 2 burgers, large fries, a Coke, popcorn chicken, and some egg tarts. It came to $60 in total. In the past, if a meal cost more than 20, he wouldn't even look at it. But today, he just thought, damn, having money feels great. I can order whatever the hell I want. At 8 o'clock that night, Yi Hao booked a high-speed train ticket back to Shaocheng for the next day. It was a 9 a.m. departure. Arriving at 3 p.m. staring at his booking confirmation, he thought about how he came to Shenzhen 6 years ago with just $3,000 in his pocket. Now, he was heading back with 79 million. He then dialed his dad's number. Yi Jiangguo picked up and asked, hey son, are you off work yet? Yi Hao replied, Dad, I'm heading back to Shaocheng tomorrow. Hearing that his son was coming home, Yi Jiangguo's tone immediately changed. Did you take some time off? Yi Hao was straightforward. I quit my job. I'm not planning on staying in Shenzhen anymore. I'm moving back to Shaocheng for good. His dad instantly panicked. What? You're coming back to Shaocheng? Shaocheng is so small. Where the hell are you gonna find a job? His dad got more and more worked up, even urging him to hurry back to his company and beg for his job back. Buy them a couple bottles of good liquor, bring a carton of smokes. Yi Hao cut him off right there. Dad, I won the lottery. He then calmly added, Dad, I won the lottery. I won 5 million. The other end of the line went so quiet it was like the call dropped. A few seconds later, Yi Jiangguo's voice trembled. 5 million? Yeah, 5 million from the lottery. I already claimed the prize today. The money's in the account. After a long silence, his dad finally spoke. Alright, come back home then. We'll have a good talk when you get back, just the 2 of us. Hanging up the phone, Yi Hao let out a long, heavy sigh of relief. He leaned against the wall, thinking about his decision to only mention the 5 million. He knew perfectly well that you should never show off your wealth. Especially back in their small county, where gossip spreads like wildfire. 5 million was still manageable, but if 80 million got out, relatives knocking on the door to borrow money would be an absolute nightmare. After taking a shower, Yi Hao laid a blanket on the floor and lay down. He scrolled through short videos for a bit, then checked the housing prices and villa estates in Shaocheng. His eyelids started getting heavier and heavier. As he turned off his phone, he thought to himself, I'm finally going home tomorrow. At 8:30 the next morning, Yi Hao packed up everything he owned. 2 suitcases and a backpack. He took one last look around the empty apartment, left the keys on the shoe cabinet, and pulled the door shut behind him. At 9:45, he arrived at the high-speed rail station, went through security, and boarded the train. The train hadn't left yet. Yi Hao sat in an aisle seat in carriage 13, looking out the window. It was late April, and Shenzhen was already hitting 28 degrees. The girls walking by on the platform were dressed for the heat, which made him think of his ex-girlfriend, Zhang Keisai. But then he realized his mindset had completely changed. He shook his head and muttered, I'm overthinking it. Definitely overthinking it. Just then, a soft voice came from beside him. Excuse me, could I just squeeze past? Yi Hao looked up and saw a young woman with her hair pinned up, wearing a light blue floral dress. She looked fair-skinned and incredibly gentle, looking the spitting image of Rosamund Kwan. They both recognized each other instantly. It was actually his former colleague from Newbie Entertainment, Guan Jilin. Yi Hao laughed. Whoa, what are the odds? Can't believe I'm running into you here. Guan Jilin flashed a sweet smile. I know, right? Same row and everything. I'm sitting right next to you. Yi Hao took her small suitcase and lifted it onto the luggage rack. Here, let me, he said. Come on in. Grab your seat. Once she sat down, Guan Jilin smiled gratefully. It's been years, but you're still as helpful as ever. Brother Yi, have you been working at Newbie Entertainment all this time? After you left, I stayed for another 3 years. Oh, you must have gotten a promotion by now then? Not a chance. That place is all about who you know. No connections, no promotion. Yeah, the nepotism is exactly why I quit back then. Anyway, I just resigned too. Taking this train back to Shaocheng. No way, that's crazy. I'm heading back to Shaocheng too. Wait, your hometown is Shaocheng? We're actually from the same place? We worked together for 3 whole years and never realized we're from the same hometown? That is wild. We were always too busy grinding to actually talk. So, what's bringing you back? Don't ask. I'm going back for blind dates. Guan Jilin sighed helplessly. My mom is dragging me back to get set up. I'm 28 now. Back in Shaocheng, I'm practically an old maid. Yi Hao asked if she actually wanted to get married. She thought for a second and replied, marriage. It's not that I don't want to. I just hate the whole blind date process. 2 total strangers sitting across from each other, ticking off boxes. It's like picking out vegetables at the market. What's the difference? Guan Jilin's tone turned serious. If I get married, it has to be with someone I truly love. I'm not just going to settle. Yi Hao nodded in full agreement. She then asked about his girlfriend. Yi Hao replied calmly, we broke up. We just broke up yesterday. Guan Jilin felt a little bad for him. She quickly encouraged him, it's alright. You're such a great guy, brother Yi. You're tall and handsome, so there will definitely be girls falling for you. Yi Hao was amused by her and said, hearing you say that, I'm just one step away from being tall, rich, and handsome. I'm just missing the money. Guan Jilin, however, earnestly encouraged him, if you ask me. You really are just missing the money. But hey, as long as you work hard, the money will eventually come. Yi Hao just smiled and didn't say anything else. The high-speed train started moving. The scenery outside the window blurred past them. Guan Jilin was suddenly quiet for a few seconds, then turned to him, looking a little shy, and said, Brother Yi, can I ask you for a huge favor? My mom is definitely going to force me to go on blind dates. But I really don't want to meet all those weird guys. How about you pretend to be my blind date? What do you think? Yi Hao was completely caught off guard. Are you serious? Don't get the wrong idea, it's not a real blind date. It's just that as soon as I get home, my mom will definitely drag some guy over to our house. I really just don't want to see them. She didn't have many close friends back in Shaocheng, and she just happened to think of Yi Hao. Since I just heard you're heading back to Shaocheng too, I immediately thought of you. Well, since you put it that way, I'd be a pretty bad friend if I said no. Guan Jilin's eyes instantly lit up, and she said confidently that she planned to tell her mom he worked at a tech company in Shenzhen, making 30,000 a month and owning his own place. Yi Hao raised an eyebrow and asked, aren't you afraid your mom will run a background check? She laughed and replied, check what? Shenzhen is over 1,000 kilometers away from Shaocheng. My mom barely even knows how to use a smartphone. They would pretend to date after meeting at her house, and eventually break it off using the excuse of returning to Shenzhen for work. Yi Hao thought the plan was flawless. He caught the faint, sweet scent of gardenias from her, mixed with her natural scent. Brother Yi, let me treat you to lunch. Since you've agreed to do me such a huge favor. The two of them chatted as they ate, and the vibe felt so much closer than back when they were just co-workers. Brother Yi, are you thinking about finding a local girl once you move back to Shaocheng? What, are you planning to set me up with one of your besties? Then what do you think of me, Brother Yi? Do I meet those requirements you just mentioned? Yi Hao froze. Guan Jilin quickly explained that she just wanted to know his standards to boost her own confidence. Although a bit disappointed, Yi Hao answered seriously, I think. If I had the chance to make you my girlfriend, I wouldn't hesitate for a single second. Hee, hearing you say that completely takes the weight off my chest. Once the train arrived at the station, Yi Hao helped Guan Jilin get her luggage down. The two headed out of the station together. Near the exit, Yi Jiangguo was waving excitedly, shouting, my boy. Over here. Guan Jilin politely bowed and said, hello, uncle. Yi Jiangguo was taken aback, and asked in confusion, wait a minute, I remember your girlfriend looking different from this. Yi Hao quickly explained that Guan Jilin was an old co-worker, and she smiled and nodded along. Yi Jiangguo offered to give her a ride home, but she politely declined. When they got to the parking lot, Yi Jiangguo recognized the car that came to pick up Guan Jilin. Mentioning it was driven by an old co-worker from his factory, Yi Hao couldn't help but marvel at how small the world was. Tell your old man the truth. Did you really win the lottery? Dad, I'm telling the absolute truth. I really won 5 million. Yi Jiangguo's brow relaxed, and a big grin spread across his face. But he still insisted on seeing it with his own eyes. Yi Hao just told him they would check it once they got home. In the car, Yi Hao made a transfer, moving 4 million to another card. Soon after, the bank called to verify. He confirmed it with just a few words and hung up. 5 minutes later, a text message showed the money had arrived. To give his dad peace of mind, he decided to only let his family see this 4 million. As soon as he got home, Yi Jiangguo was dying to see the balance, so Yi Hao opened his phone. The numbers on the screen had him excitedly counting, 7 whole digits. Good heavens, 4 million. Yi Hao explained that this was all that was left after taxes. Yi Jiangguo sighed with relief, feeling that life was finally looking up. They could finally pay off the medical debts from his wife's illness. As soon as they walked in, his mother, Li Hongmei, happily hugged him. My boy, you're finally home. Mom's gonna make your favorite braised pork later. Yi Jiangguo immediately announced that Yi Hao had actually won 5 million. Li Hongmei let out a shocked, oh my goodness. 4 million, 7 digits. She jumped up and down with excitement, immediately thinking they should get Yi Hao and Zhang Keisai married right away. But Yi Hao looked a bit awkward and said, we actually broke up yesterday. The moment those words left his mouth, the lively living room instantly fell dead silent. Yi Hao sat down on the couch and explained that when his mom was hospitalized last month, he had to use the 60,000 intended for the bride price for the emergency. Zhang Keisai got furious and broke up with him over it. Yi Jiangguo slapped his thigh and blurted out, good riddance to her. Saving a life is way more important than some bride price. Li Hongmei, however, felt a wave of guilt. Yi Hao quickly comforted her. Then, he revealed that he already had a blind date lined up for tomorrow. It was Guan Jilin, the girl he met on the bullet train. Hearing this, Yi Jiangguo beamed. I knew there was something different about you today. He turned to Li Hongmei and explained that Guan Jilin was the daughter of his old buddy from the factory, and went on and on about how pretty the girl was. Hearing her husband praise another woman's looks, Li Hongmei instantly got jealous. Oh, so her mother must be pretty too, huh? Yi Jiangguo frantically denied it, while Yi Hao just stood by, enjoying the show and throwing his dad under the bus. To dodge the crossfire, Yi Jiangguo quickly retreated into the kitchen. Listen, if you really like this girl, you need to be bold and tell her straight up on your date tomorrow. You young folks beat around the bush way too much when dating. Stop hiding your feelings. If you like her, just go for it. Mom, what era are you living in? Society has changed. We literally just met. Even if there's a spark, we still have to take it slow. I can't just rush in head first. That would totally scare her away. Li Hongmei finally backed down. Alright, fine. You young people can handle your own business. As long as you get married soon, I'm happy. But on a serious note, let me ask you something. Now that you're back with 4 million, and you're not going back to Shenzhen, where do you plan on buying a house? Yi Hao stroked his chin and started thinking seriously. Deep down, Yi Hao knew he actually had 79 million. But afraid his parents would worry, he kept it brief. Mom, since I'm back for good, I'm planning to settle down in town. And honestly, I'm thinking about buying a villa right off the bat. Li Hongmei's face instantly dropped. She slapped the coffee table and yelled, what? Buy a villa? My goodness. Son, do you have a fever? Sure, you won 5 million. But after taxes you've only got 4 million. It's not like you won 50 million. Mom, you don't need to worry about that. I know a guy who can hook us up. When I go buy the house later, I can get a discount. It won't cost that much anyway. Li Hongmei was completely skeptical. She leaned in and asked, "So, is this friend of yours a guy or a girl?" Yi Hao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Oh, Mom, I told you, it's just a friend. Why are you even asking that? Even if it is a girl, she's just helping me check out houses. Where is your mind going?" After Li Hongmei went into the kitchen to cook, Yi Hao sat alone in the living room. And without blinking an eye, transferred 100,000 to his dad. Yi Jiangguo rushed out of the kitchen holding his phone. "Son, why did you transfer so much money to me? It says 100,000 right here." Yi Hao put down his phone and smiled. "Just making it an even number, Dad. Besides, now that I have all this money, it's only right to spoil you a bit. Good boy, it's great to see you being so thoughtful. I'm so happy, but I need to hurry up and pay off the money we borrowed before. Having debts hanging over my head just doesn't feel right." He then walked over to the balcony, calling relatives and friends one by one to pay them back. The heavy weight was finally lifted off his chest. At 5:30 in the afternoon, the dining table was covered with braised pork, chili stir-fried pork, and all of Yi Hao's favorite dishes. Yi Jiangguo picked up his bowl and chopsticks, laughing as he called out, "Let's eat." Yi Hao grabbed a huge piece of chili stir-fried pork, endlessly praising how delicious it was. Li Hongmei smiled happily. "Son, as long as you love it, eat up. Let's put back all that weight you lost while working in Shenzhen. As for buying a villa, I still think you should really think it through. Mom, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm planning to go house hunting tomorrow, and pick up a car while I'm at it. A car will cost 200,000 or 300,000, right? Money goes fast, so you have to plan carefully. It wasn't easy for our boy to come home. Come on, cheers." The family of three clinked their glasses together. The atmosphere at the dinner table was so warm and comforting. With your situation now, once word gets out, who knows how many girls will be lining up to go on blind dates with you. If that Zhang Keisai doesn't want you, that's her own loss. In the past, all he had was being tall and handsome. But now, he could add rich to the list. The very next morning, Yi Hao woke up from an incredibly solid sleep. After washing up, he sat down at the table for breakfast. He looked at his parents. "Mom, Dad, I'm heading out to look at houses right after I eat." Yi Jiangguo gave him a stern look. "It's fine to look at villas, but you only have 4 million on hand. Don't just blow it all on a sudden impulse." Yi Hao just laughed. "I know, Dad, I've got it all figured out. Once the villa is all paid for, you two can move in and really enjoy life." Feeling great, he walked out of the house. Standing downstairs as he scrolled through house listings on his phone, it didn't take long to spot a detached villa community called Joyous Estate. The price was 10,000 per square meter, making the total around 4,800,000. Without a second thought, he called a rideshare and headed straight over. On the way, Yi Hao got a text from Guan Jilin. She said she had already convinced her mother to set up the blind date for 3 o'clock this afternoon. Yi Hao replied, agreeing to it. But in his head, he couldn't help but laugh. The fake 30,000 a month with a house profile she made up was nothing compared to his actual 79 million in cold, hard cash. That was the kind of wealth a normal person couldn't earn in several lifetimes. Yi Hao arrived at the Joyous Estate sales office, catching a glimpse of his extremely plain outfit in the glass walls before pushing the doors open. A tall, slender saleswoman immediately walked up to greet him. "Hello, sir. Welcome to Joy Villa. Are you here to look at some houses?" "Yeah, I am. I'd like to check out the villas you have here." As the saleswoman guided him enthusiastically, Yi Hao noticed that all the staff here greeted people with a warm smile. There was none of that snobby attitude you read about in novels. The saleswoman introduced herself as Lu Yaran, and Yi Hao got straight to the point. He wanted a large multi-story place with a pool and a lawn. "It needs to be quiet. This one has a total area of nearly 500 square meters. The total price is 4.8 million. We're currently running a 10% down payment promotion, so you can move in for just 480,000. Is there a more direct deal? I don't need a mortgage or an installment plan. If I pay in full, can I get a direct discount?" Lu Yaran replied, "Paying in full only gets you a 30,000 discount, and there are no other promotional packages with it." Yi Hao decided to go look at the actual house first. When Lu Yaran turned around to grab the keys from the front desk, Yi Hao watched her walk away and suddenly felt she looked really familiar. Even the name Lu Yaran sounded like he'd heard it somewhere before. While she was getting the keys, a female coworker leaned in and whispered, "If he can really afford to pay over 4 million in cash for a villa, you should get his WeChat. Bag a rich guy and you could be living the high life as a wealthy wife." "Alright, stop talking nonsense. I'm not that kind of woman." Despite what she said, her cheeks flushed slightly red. Lu Yaran drove a red Audi to take Yi Hao to see the house. Her driving was swift and smooth. Yi Hao stared at her for a few seconds, and then it suddenly clicked. "Did you go to Wenchang Middle School? Were you in class 904 when we graduated?" Lu Yaran gasped in surprise. "Oh my gosh, I was. Then you must be." Yi Hao smiled and said, "I'm Yi Hao." Lu Yaran immediately covered her mouth in shock. Oh my god, I remember now. I remember you were the most handsome guy in our class. Actually, the most handsome guy in the whole school. After the two exchanged WeChat contacts, the car fell silent for a brief moment. The realization that they were old classmates who hadn't seen each other in over a decade made the atmosphere subtly shift. Once they arrived at the villa, Liu Yaran showed Yi Hao around inside and out. The front yard lawn, the backyard pool, the 3 floors of living space, and the basement all left him thoroughly impressed. Yi Hao said without hesitation, "I think it's perfect." "I'll take this one." "So fast? Don't you want to look at any others?" "No need, just take me back to sign the contract. I'll pay in full, back at the sales center." Liu Yaran quickly prepared the contract. After signing, Yi Hao pulled out his phone. 4.77 million was transferred in a single payment. Liu Yaran was completely shocked. They hadn't seen each other in over a decade. How did he get so unbelievably rich? Her female colleague leaned over again and whispered, "He's the absolute definition of tall, rich, and handsome." "You've really got to seize this opportunity." Liu Yaran smiled, playfully rolling her eyes at her coworker, then picked up the organized documents and walked back into the signing room. Sounding slightly nervous, she said to him, Yi Hao, please keep these documents safe. We actually took care of the major paperwork for this property a long time ago. So your property deed will be delivered right to your hands within a week." Yi Hao took the documents, nodded, and said, "I'll leave it in your capable hands then." Yi Hao then tucked the documents away. He stood up, ready to leave. Just as he walked to the main entrance of the sales center, Liu Yaran's voice came from behind. "Yi Hao, wait a minute." He stopped and turned around, only to see Liu Yaran jogging up to catch him. She stood in front of him, her expression a bit hesitant. I was hoping to treat you to dinner tonight, is that okay?" "Don't worry, I don't have any other intentions. It's just that we happen to be old classmates. Plus, you gave me such a huge commission today, so I really wanted to buy you a meal. Just to show my appreciation. What do you say?" Yi Hao remembered that he still had to go to Guan Jilin's house at 3 p.m. to meet her mom. But since he only needed to make an appearance, he would definitely be free in the evening. So he nodded and said, "Sure. I'll see you tonight, then. Just send me the address." A bright, happy smile instantly bloomed on Liu Yaran's face. She cheerfully replied, "Great. See you tonight." After Yi Hao came out of the sales center, he paused before leaving. Standing at the door, he opened the construction bank app, pausing his steps again. The screen displayed 72,330,123.35 yuan. He paused. A dinner invitation. He muttered in awe, "I still have over 70 million left." With this card, plus the 4 million in Dragon Country Bank, he still had over 74 million on hand. 4,770,000. Yi Hao had already calculated it in his head. When he got home, he'd just say the house only cost around 2 million. Having just spent 4,760,000 to buy a villa. 4,770,000. The amount of money he held was still staggeringly huge. Just then, Yi Hao's phone buzzed. Guan Jilin sent a WeChat message, "Brother Yi, I just remembered something I told my mom. Didn't you have a car? Do you have a car with you right now?" Only then did Yi Hao remember that he had to help her deal with her mom this afternoon. On WeChat, Guan Jilin offered to help him rent a car. Yi Hao replied directly, "No need. I have a car, I'll drive it over later." Guan Jilin replied instantly, "That's great. Then I'll be counting on you this afternoon." Yi Hao put away his phone and started seriously considering buying a car. He scrolled through various car models on his phone. BYD, Tesla, Geely, and Xpeng, they were all there. In the end, he settled on the Xiaomi SU7. He felt its performance and value for money were pretty good. Young people recognized it, so it would look impressive to drive around. Yet it wasn't as flashy as a luxury car. Yi Hao hailed a rideshare and headed straight to the Xiaomi dealership in town. Even though Shaocheng was just a small Tier 5 city, it still had plenty of dealerships for various car brands. Buying a Xiaomi SU7 would be very convenient. Yi Hao walked into the brightly lit showroom and immediately spotted 2 Xiaomi SU7s right in the middle. One was blue. He walked straight over to the gray car. He walked around it, admiring its smooth lines. It was full of design flair. While Yi Hao was inspecting the car, a male salesman with slicked back hair walked over. "Hello, are you here to look at cars, sir?" Yi Hao thought the voice sounded familiar. He turned to look, and it was actually his old friend, Yang Qifan. He smiled and said, "Qifan, what are you doing here?" Yang Qifan was equally surprised. "Is that you, Yi Hao?" "Really is you, Yi Hao." "Nah, I just couldn't make a living in Shenzhen anymore, so here I am back in Shaocheng." Shaocheng is great, too. Places like Shenzhen are way too fast-paced. And the pressure is too heavy. "Are you here to buy a car? Or just looking around?" Yi Hao replied, "I'm here to buy a car. Then you could check out our SUVs, maybe take one for a spin?" "An SUV? I don't really have a use for that. Because Kaisai and I are already over." Yang Qifan quickly snapped back into professional mode. Pulling open the door of the gray SU7, Yi Hao slid into the driver's seat. As he felt the snug grip of the seat and the smooth touch of the steering wheel, Yang Qifan leaned on the window and introduced the car. This baby is the SU7 Pro Edition. It has a range of 830 kilometers, 0 to 100 in 5.7 seconds. The out-the-door price is just a little over 280,000. But since we're old buddies, you can drive it home for 270,000. 270,000? That actually sounds pretty good. I'll take this one. Let's get the paperwork done. Whoa, already? Yang Qifan asked Yi Hao if he wanted to check out other colors, or maybe take it for a quick test drive. Yi Hao stepped out of the car and flat out said, no need. I've got stuff to do this afternoon and I need a car anyway. I'll just get a feel for it on the road later. The purchase paperwork was wrapped up quickly, and Yi Hao paid 278,600. That was a discount of about $1,000 off the original price. The staff buzzed around, helping him take photos with his new ride. They took shots from the side, and ones of him standing proudly right at the front, striking that classic pose holding the keys. At 12 noon, Yi Hao pulled his new car up to the entrance, rolled down the window, and called out to Yang Qifan, let's go. It's already noon. Let's grab some lunch together, just us brothers. Alright, but lunch is on me today. Yi Hao waved his hand, saying, no need, but Yang Qifan was firm. You just helped me hit my quota for the month today. I definitely owe you a meal. Yi Hao let out a helpless smile. Having no choice but to agree, he sighed, alright, fine. If you insist, it's your treat. The two of them found a nice little restaurant, sat by the window, and ordered a few dishes along with some orange juice. Yang Qifan raised his glass first. Come on, let's toast to your sweet new ride. The two clinked their glasses and took a sip, the atmosphere slowly growing lighter. By the way, Yi Hao, are you still working at Niubi Entertainment down in Shenzhen? Did you get promoted? Your salary must be pretty fat by now, right? Yeah, right. I quit that place a while ago. Actually, I resigned the day before yesterday and just got back yesterday. That company had absolutely zero room for growth. All the higher-ups getting promoted are just nepotism hires. You bust your ass doing all the grunt work, and all the credit gets snatched up by the lazy jerks who don't do jack shit. Tell me that's not infuriating. In today's world, everything runs on connections. Even the top salesman at the dealership just relies on pulling favors and handing out freebies to boost his numbers. Cheers to this fucking bullshit life. The two of them slammed their orange juice down in one gulp. As the dishes were brought out one by one, Yang Qifan picked up some food and asked, did you and Kasai seriously call it quits? You think I'm joking? We're really done. Yang Qifan shook his head, saying he was in the same boat. Finally, he calmly let out 3 simple words, we got divorced. Yang Qifan took a sip of his orange juice and began pouring out the reasons behind the split. She thought I was too broke. Deng Yao runs a yoga studio, pulling in tens of thousands a month. In a town like Shaocheng, she's practically at the top of the food chain. He let out a bitter laugh. But what the hell am I supposed to do? I've got no degree, no backing. Grinding your way up isn't exactly a walk in the park. Is it because I don't work hard enough? I'm literally the most dedicated guy at the whole 4S dealership. First to arrive, last to leave. I get you, man. Come on, let's drink to that, bro. They both downed their drinks in one go. Good thing you guys don't have kids. Otherwise, a single-parent home would be way too tough. You've been married to her for 4 years now, right? Since we don't have kids, I won't hide it from you. Honestly, I've got a bit of a problem in that department. Yi Hao pressed him. What kind of problem? Yang Qifan leaned in closer and whispered, it's just I can't get it up when I'm with a woman. The chopsticks in Yi Hao's hand almost dropped straight to the floor. He asked in absolute shock. I'm being dead serious. You're the only person I've ever told about this. If you breathe a word of this to anyone, we are done. Yi Hao's mind, however, was completely blown. Actually, I really do want to get back together with her. If you ever have the time. And if you happen to run into her, could you maybe put in a good word for me? Put in a good word? I don't even have her number. How am I supposed to? Wait, you really don't know? Know what? What are you saying about Deng Yao? She literally lives right next door to your parents' place now. Man, haven't you seen her around? Yi Hao was stunned once again. He quickly explained that he had been working crazy overtime in Shenzhen all these years. So he had absolutely no clue who lived next door. Seeing the disappointment on Yang Qifan's face, he patted his friend on the shoulder. Well, since she lives right next door, I'm bound to bump into her eventually. When I do see Deng Yao, I'll definitely put in a good word for you. I really will. After they finished eating, Yi Hao drove his brand new Xiaomi SU7 and dropped Yang Qifan back at the 4S dealership. Before getting out, Yang Qifan patted him on the shoulder again. Bro, I'm really counting on you with that whole Deng Yao situation. Don't worry, I've got it covered. After Yang Qifan walked back into the shop, Yi Hao glanced at the time. It was getting close to 3 in the afternoon. He pulled out his phone and sent Guan Jilin a WeChat message. Have you picked a spot yet? I can drive over right now. A few minutes later, Guan Jilin replied, saying they settled on the Guanping tea house right next to the Shaochai neighborhood. Yi Hao drove for about 10 minutes, smoothly pulling up right out front. As soon as he stepped out of the car, he saw Guan Jilin waving at him. Sitting right beside her was a middle-aged woman. Yi Hao walked into the tea house, and Guan Jilin introduced them with a smile. Brother Yi. We saved a seat for you, and this is my mom. Hello, ma'am, I'm Yi Hao. The moment Guan's mother saw him, her eyes practically lit up. Oh my, I heard from Linlin yesterday that the guy coming for the blind date today was a tall, incredibly handsome young man. Seeing you in person today, you really are exactly as she described. No wonder she was so stubborn about canceling the blind dates I set up for her. Listen, you handsome thing, I'm speaking from experience here. Since this is a blind date, let's just put all our cards on the table and be direct. Let's not beat around the bush. So, I just wanted to find out a bit about what you're doing for work right now. Guan Jilin quickly shot Yi Hao a pointed look. Reminding him not to forget the story they agreed on during the train ride, Yi Hao picked up his teacup. His tone was completely natural. Right now, I'm working at an internet company in Shenzhen. I'm working as a manager. My monthly salary is around 30,000. I've got full benefits and my year-end bonus is usually around 100,000. Plus, I just bought an apartment in Shenzhen. It's 100 square meters. My family helped pay for it in full. Hearing this, Mother Guan's smile grew even wider. He then asked if the gray sports car outside was his. Yi Hao nodded and said yes. Mom, he literally got out of that car right from the start. Our Linlin is already 28 this year. It's about time she finds a good man to settle down with. You two used to be colleagues, so you really know each other inside and out. Ling told me that you're incredibly hardworking and dedicated at your job, and you always help her out. A man who takes his work seriously and knows how to care for the people around him is a perfect match in my book. Mom, is there anything else you want to ask? No, I've heard enough. Alright, the rest of the time is yours. I won't sit here and get in your way. Do you want us to drive you back? Oh, no need. I can head back on my own. You two just sit and have a nice chat. Watching her mother disappear around the corner, Guan Jilin let out a massive sigh of relief. Yi, thank you so much for helping me out today. Now that my mom is convinced, I won't have to worry about her constantly pushing all these weird blind date guys on me. No worries, I'm just happy to help. After working in Shenzhen for so long, coming back this time, I actually feel like life in our hometown is pretty nice. The pace is slow, and there's no pressure. Yi Hao nodded in agreement. The two started chatting about the differences between the small town and Shenzhen. If the wages in town weren't so ridiculously low, I'd honestly want to stay here too. What can anyone even do with 1,800 a month? That's exactly it. That's why there are so few young people around. Anyone with skills has moved away. Guan Jilin casually glanced out the window and noticed just how brand new that gray car was. She asked, Yi, that car out there looks absolutely pristine. Did you just buy it? Yeah, I actually just bought it today. A Xiaomi, right? I've heard of those. Don't they cost over 200,000? Guan Jilin suddenly stopped talking. She realized Yi Hao had just quit his job, yet he bought a car worth over 200,000. She mistakenly assumed he had taken out a massive loan to buy it, just to keep up appearances for her. The moment this thought hit her, a wave of intense guilt washed over her. I am so sorry, Yi. This is all my fault. I never thought you'd go to such extremes and pay such a huge price just to help me. But please don't worry. How much did you take out for the loan? I'll help you pay it off. Just consider it my way of repaying you. Yi Hao looked completely baffled. Ling? What exactly do you mean by that? I know I was in the wrong. I never should have forced this kind of financial burden onto you. But besides the money, there's something else I can give you. Actually, I've never really experienced that kind of thing before. If you need to, I wouldn't mind. Yi Hao nearly spat out his tea, frantically waving his hands. Whoa, hold on. Ling, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean you're going to help me pay off a loan? I didn't misunderstand. I know you only did it to help me hide the truth from my mom. And that's why you took out a loan to buy this car. Yi Hao finally realized that she had a massive misunderstanding. If I had known you were going to do this from the start, then I definitely wouldn't have asked for your help. I didn't take out a loan for this car. I paid for it in cash. This has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's okay, Yi. Even if I gave myself to you, I wouldn't regret it. You're a good guy, and I'm willing. I really paid for this car in full. Let me go get the purchase documents to show you. Don't just drive off because you feel like you're taking advantage of me. I mean every word I said. I really am willing. Ling, please, stop talking. We're in public. The customers at the surrounding tables all turned to stare at them. Guan Jilin finally realized what she had just blurted out, and her face instantly turned beet red. The people at the nearby tables were still staring at her. An old man holding a teacup flashed a knowing smile. She wished she could bury her head straight into her cup. Meanwhile, Guan's mother had just returned home. She sat down on the sofa and dialed a number. Once the call connected, she asked, "Hey, niece? I remember you work at that newbie entertainment, right? I want you to help me look into someone at your company." "Oh, sure. I'll ask around for you when I have some time. But I've only been on the job for a couple of days, so I don't know a lot of people yet." Guan's mother told her not to rush. After hanging up, she leaned back on the sofa, thinking more and more about how absolutely perfect Yi Hao was. Back at the tea house, Yi Hao quickly retrieved the car documents and handed them to Guan Jilin. "See, I really did pay cash for this car." After checking the amount and payment method, Guan Jilin finally believed that she had completely misunderstood. "You've worked at Newbie Entertainment for 6 years without a promotion. Logically, you couldn't have saved up this much money." Yi Hao could only make up an excuse, saying he had made some money through e-commerce and trading crypto. "Oh, so that's how it is. Wow, Yi, you're amazing. I didn't expect you to make money from e-commerce too. I've really learned something today. I just got lucky, that's all." She figured she might have to go on a few more dates with Yi Hao, just to keep her mom off her back. "Are you staying in town or heading back to Shenzhen?" "I'll probably head back to Shenzhen." Yi Hao secretly hoped she would stay, but he didn't say it out loud. "How about I treat you to dinner?" "I can't today. I have to go home for a welcome back dinner." "Let's do it next time, my treat." "No worries, we'll eat next time." "It's a date, then." Yi Hao offered to drive Guan Jilin home, but she said her house was nearby and she didn't need a ride. The two waved goodbye at the door of the tea house. Yi Hao watched her silhouette disappear around the street corner, finished his last sip of tea, and got up to leave. Yi Hao got back into his car and checked the time. It was only 3:45 in the afternoon. It was still early for his date with Lu Yaran. He decided to drive around the county town for a bit and ask for the exact location at 5 o'clock. Yi Hao drove slowly down the old streets, taking in the familiar yet somewhat foreign scenery. He marveled at how the town hadn't changed much, but as he looked around now, his state of mind was completely different. Yi Hao drove over to the vicinity of the Shaochai neighborhood, and noticed the community was much cleaner than before. Just then, his phone rang. It was a WeChat message from Lu Yaran. Yi Hao read the message. After replying with a simple, "Okay," Yi Hao gave his dad, Yi Jiangguo, a call. He told him that the villa and the car were already bought. Yi Jiangguo was absolutely shocked. "You're buying houses and cars like you're picking up groceries at the market." After asking how much he had spent, Yi Hao casually said he still had 2 million left in his account. "Who are you having dinner with tonight? A guy or a girl?" Yi Hao sighed helplessly and said, "A girl." Yi Jiangguo instantly got excited. Dad approves of this marriage. Yi Hao had no choice but to quickly hang up the phone. At 5 p.m., Yi Hao arrived at Poly Plaza. The moment he stepped out of his car, he saw a few girls taking pictures of his custom Xiaomi SU7. When the girls saw the owner approaching, they ran away shyly. "Yi Hao, over here." Yi Hao looked up, only to see that she had changed into a stunning, long pink dress. With her long hair draped over her shoulders, she looked incredibly alluring. "I didn't expect someone as rich as you to drive a Xiaomi SU7. Being rich has nothing to do with what car you drive. Besides, this car has its own charm." Lu Yaran chuckled at his words. The two of them walked into the mid-mountain restaurant and took a seat by the window. Yi Hao ordered a black pepper steak, medium well. Lu Yaran ordered a steak too, asking for it to be medium. Yi Hao looked around, and noticed that the place hadn't really changed. This place is still exactly the same as it was back then. "The prices here might be a little beneath you now." Yi Hao didn't mind at all. He just replied calmly, "I really don't mind." Lu Yaran told him that the most surprising thing today wasn't how quickly he bought the villa, but the fact that he was driving a Xiaomi SU7. Yi Hao explained, "I just don't like showing off." Lu Yaran really admired that, saying that keeping a low profile showed true wisdom. Once the steaks arrived, Yi Hao took a bite, and happily noted that it tasted just as good as it used to. "Out of everyone from our middle school, you and Shang Pan are probably the wealthiest ones now. Shang Pan and I have always been pretty close." Yi Hao stuck to his story, claiming he made his money through e-commerce and crypto. Still amazed, Lu Yaran sighed, mentioning that it took her 6 whole years just to save up 200,000. She added that real estate sales were getting harder and harder these days. Yi Hao complimented her, saying she was still young and beautiful. But Lu Yaran looked at him seriously. "I'm just scared that my future partner won't be able to give me the life I want. That's why I've stayed single and just focused on saving money. I want to be able to rely on myself." Yi Hao nodded, completely understanding where she was coming from. Lu Yaran then confessed that she actually really wanted to find love, but was terrified of ending up all alone. Suddenly, she looked at him intently and asked, "If it were you, would you ever consider a woman like me? I want the honest truth." The atmosphere instantly shifted, becoming thick with tension. "I really admire your independence. And I think you're incredibly beautiful. Are you just saying that to be polite? I'm already 29. I'm not exactly young and pretty anymore. Come on, if you weren't gorgeous with a great figure, there's no way you'd be selling high-end villas." Hearing that, Lu Yaran smiled and gave a slight nod, as if she finally accepted the compliment. Lu Yaran then brought up her college days, mentioning a tall, handsome guy she used to have a huge crush on. But she never made a move because she felt too insecure. After that, she said, "I swore to myself that once I made myself look good, I'd never live with regrets again." After saying that, she called the waiter over and ordered a bottle of red wine. "Do you want to have a little? I don't really drink, but I'll grab some juice and keep you company." Lu Yaran looked a little disappointed, but she quickly forced a smile and said, "That's completely fine." But she clearly wasn't very happy. Over the next hour, Lu Yaran got completely wasted after just 2 glasses of red wine, her whole body flushing red. She slurred her words, venting about her miserable life, saying, "I actually really admire you." Before she could even finish, her body slid backward. Yi Hao quickly caught her. "Yaran, you're drunk. Let me take you home." Hazy with alcohol, Lu Yaran leaned against him and mumbled, "Go home?" "Sure, do you know where I live?" Helpless, Yi Hao kept asking for her address, but she just said she didn't know. "You have to tell me the address." Then she muttered again, "Then where do I go back to? I forgot where my house is too." Yi Hao told her to think hard. She shook her head and said, "I can't remember." Lu Yaran was slumped completely limp against Yi Hao. Her perfume mixed with the smell of alcohol rushed into his nose. Yi Hao quickly pushed away any distracting thoughts. While holding her up, he signaled the waiter for the bill. The waiter looked at the two of them with a rather complicated expression. Yi Hao hurriedly scanned the code to pay, then hoisted Lu Yaran up onto her feet. Seeing this, the young girl at the front desk immediately gave them a wary look. The stare gave Yi Hao the creeps, so he had to speed up and carry Lu Yaran out of the restaurant. Once outside, quite a few pedestrians kept staring at them along the way. A tall man holding up a drunk woman wearing a long pink dress. It was just way too conspicuous. Yi Hao was so embarrassed he just wanted to get in the car and leave. Finally reaching the car, Yi Hao pulled open the passenger side door. He carefully placed Lu Yaran inside and buckled her seatbelt. After getting back into the driver's seat, he let out a huge sigh of relief. Phew, that was humiliating. I swear, if I stayed there a second longer, I would have died of embarrassment right on the spot. "Yaran, where's your house?" He called her name twice, but there was no response. Her head was tilted to the side, eyes closed completely. Passed out cold, Yi Hao said helplessly, "Great. This is a mess." Yi Hao dug out Lu Yaran's phone, but couldn't unlock it because of the passcode. He checked the time, it was already 7:30 in the evening. Since he didn't know where she lived, his only option was to find a hotel first. He needed to get a room so she could rest. Yi Hao parked the car, and walked alone into the lobby of the Chengkan Sunshine Hotel. The young receptionist with glasses flashed a professional smile. "Hello, sir. Would you like to book a room?" Yi Hao handed over his ID card and said, "1 king room, please." "Will it just be you staying, sir?" "2 people. The other person is in the car. She's drunk. She's my classmate. I don't know where she lives, so I can only get a room for her to rest in first." The receptionist handed over the room key with a guarded look and said, "Room 308. 3rd floor, turn left, 3rd room." Yi Hao took the key card. He had no choice but to bite the bullet, go back to the car, and help Lu Yaran into the hotel. Yi Hao helped Lu Yaran into room 308, getting ready to lay her down on the bed. Suddenly, there was a click from behind him. He turned around to look. To his surprise, Lu Yaran had reached out and locked the door. Yi Hao asked in shock, "Weren't you drunk?" "How?" Before Yi Hao could finish his sentence, Lu Yaran suddenly reached out her hands, grabbed his face, and kissed him straight on the lips. Yi Hao completely froze in place, with only one thought left in his mind. This completely caught him off guard. The next morning at 9 o'clock, Yi Hao woke up feeling groggy and first checked the time on his phone. When he turned his head and saw Lu Yaran lying on the pillow next to him, a wave of intense regret washed over him. What the hell did I just do? Yi Hao buried his face in his hands. Memories of last night kept flashing through his mind. When he pulled back the blanket to check, his face went completely pale and he blurted out, "Holy shit. I didn't use protection." Thinking about how he had just won 100 million, and hadn't even enjoyed the rich life for a few days yet, he felt incredibly regretful. When Lu Yaran woke up, she hugged Yi Hao's arm, and said guiltily, "Yi Hao, I know what I did last night was wrong. But don't worry, I promise I will take full responsibility for you. Yi Hao grabbed his head with both hands and hesitantly asked, should I go buy you a morning after pill? No need, I am a responsible woman. Every time we reached the very end, I made sure I stayed on the outside. Hearing this, Yi Hao clearly let out a sigh of relief and got ready to head to the bathroom. Yi Hao, I really will take responsibility for you. Miss, I'm a grown man. Why would I need you to take responsibility? Look, I'm an independent woman, so when it comes to things like this, I should be the one taking responsibility for you, shouldn't I? Yi Hao pulled his arm away from Lu Yaren's grip and walked into the bathroom. He splashed his face with cold water, staring at his reflection in the mirror, repeatedly telling himself, after all, I was the one who got tricked. It wasn't completely voluntary. Yi Hao walked back into the room and sat on the edge of the bed in a daze. Lu Yaren hugged the blanket tightly and said with deep self-blame, Yi Hao, I promise I'll take responsibility for you until the very end. If you don't like me, that's okay. You can go date other girls. I just hope there will still be a tiny place for me in your heart. Yi Hao looked at her red, teary eyes and could only let out a heavy sigh. After packing their things, Yi Hao and Lu Yaren went downstairs together. As they walked past the front desk, the young girl with glasses saw the two of them walking out together and gave them a knowing, I get it kind of smirk. Yi Hao felt completely helpless, so he could only hurry out of the hotel. Once they reached the parking lot, Yi Hao got into his gray Xiaomi SU7 and asked Lu Yaren, can you finally tell me where you live now? My place is right by the west gate of the West Lake Pearl residence. Yi Hao started the car and drove her back. When they arrived at the west gate of the West Lake Pearl residence, Lu Yaren softly said before getting out, drive safe on your way back. After that, she closed the car door and walked into the complex. Yi Hao watched her figure completely disappear from sight, feeling incredibly conflicted. He lit a cigarette. Just as he took a deep drag, a WeChat message from Lu Yaren popped up on his phone. Yi Hao, I really will take responsibility for you. Yi Hao didn't reply. He just locked his screen, feeling an unspeakable sense of frustration. Then, Yi Hao opened Douyin. He posted a status. What does it feel like for a grown man to be told by a woman that she wants to take responsibility for him? How does that feel? The comments section quickly filled up with ha 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 and you can fool us, bros. But don't fool yourself. Yi Hao irritably closed TikTok and snuffed out his cigarette. Stepping on the gas, he headed home. By the time Yi Hao got home, Li Hongmei had just finished making breakfast. Yi Jiangguo was sitting at the dining table. Seeing him walk in, he asked, why do you look so down? Did your dinner date go badly last night? Yi Hao shook his head and said, number. Then it must have been a success. Li Hongmei came out carrying rice porridge to smooth things over. Our son just got back the day before yesterday. Who could he possibly get involved with? Hearing this made Yi Hao feel even more helpless. Li Hongmei then asked about buying a house and a car. Yi Hao said he paid in full and still had 2 million left in his account. You bought both the house and the car? That's such a steal. It was an internal employee discount from a friend. Make sure to treat your friend to dinner. Once the villa is renovated, we can all move in together. But his parents both waved their hands in refusal, saying they were used to living here and all their old neighbors were around. Besides, if you get a girlfriend later and bring her home, it would be so inconvenient with me and your dad living there. Yi Hao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He could only shake his head helplessly. After eating breakfast, Yi Hao leaned back on the couch to rest. Just then, there was a sudden knock on the front door. He got up to open it. He never expected the person standing outside to leave him completely stunned. As soon as the door opened, Yi Hao saw a woman wearing black yoga pants and a cropped sports bra. She had a curvy figure with a post-workout flush on her face and a light sweat on her forehead. Yi Hao's heart skipped a beat. Deng Yao. Seeing that the person opening the door was a tall, handsome young man, Deng Yao was clearly taken aback too. Yi Hao leaned against the doorframe and smiled a greeting. Looking a bit embarrassed, Deng Yao said, I'm here to borrow 2 cucumbers. Looking at Deng Yao in her yoga outfit, Yi Hao couldn't help but let his mind wander to the gutter. Deng Yao blushed and quickly waved her hands to explain, it's not what you're thinking. I'm making a weight loss salad and I just ran out of cucumbers. Just then, Li Hongmei came out of the kitchen, smiling as she handed some washed cucumbers to Deng Yao. Deng Yao said thank you, then turned and left. Yi Hao watched her walking away, his heart feeling a bit restless for a moment. Hee hee, you little rascal definitely had dirty thoughts, didn't you? Her name is Deng Yao. She comes over to borrow things quite often. She's a really nice person. If you're into her, Mom can put in a good word for you. Feeling awkward, Yi Hao told his mother to stop talking about this stuff all day. After sitting back on the couch, he admitted to himself that he was physically reacting to Deng Yao. But the moment he remembered she was his friend Yang Qifan's ex-wife, he immediately warned himself to back off. Then, thinking of Liu Yaran from last night, he slapped his cheeks, forcing himself to stop overthinking. After having lunch at noon, Li Hongmei told Yi Hao to go out for a walk and take out the trash while he was at it. Yi Hao grabbed the garbage bags, walked to the doorway, and pushed open the front door to leave. Just as Yi Hao pushed the door open, he bumped into his next-door neighbor Deng Yao, who was also walking out. He changed into some fitted clothes and grabbed his car keys. They shared an awkward smile, nodded, and headed downstairs one after the other. The stairs in the old apartment building were really narrow. Yi Hao walked in front. Deng Yao followed right behind him, unable to stop herself from checking out his back. She thought to herself, so this is Auntie Li's son. He's so tall and handsome, totally different from Yang Qifan and his hunched back. Deng Yao was so lost in staring that she completely ignored where she was stepping. The very next second, she stepped right on the crumbling edge of a concrete step. She let out a sharp "ah," and her whole body pitched straight forward. In the nick of time, Yi Hao heard her scream. He whipped around, only to see Deng Yao flying right at him. His eyes went wide as he shouted, "Oh, shit!" The trash bags instantly slipped right out of his hands. Mid-fall, Deng Yao saw Yi Hao reaching out. Terrified, she squeezed her eyes shut and screamed, "Ah!" No, but the disaster she imagined never came. Instead, she crashed right into Yi Hao's face, while Yi Hao firmly grabbed her thighs and caught her midair. Out in the hallway, Deng Yao sprang back in absolute panic, stumbling backward. Waving her hands frantically, she blurted out, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to." Meanwhile, Yi Hao just stood there, rubbing his nose. Yi Hao secretly thought to himself, "Thank God for that soft cushioning just now." Still rubbing his nose, he gently reassured Deng Yao, "Oh, it's fine, I'm totally okay." Deng Yao glanced down at her chest. Her clothes were perfectly fine, but thinking about the sheer awkwardness of what just happened, she was so mortified she wanted the floor to swallow her whole. Seeing Yi Hao still rubbing his nose, she asked guiltily, "Are you sure your nose is really okay? If it hurts too much, I can take you to the hospital to get it checked out. I'll cover all the medical bills." Yi Hao lowered his hand. Smiling at her, he said, "Really, it's totally fine. My nose isn't broken. It's actually pretty tough." "Oh, really? That's such a relief." The awkward tension still lingered in the air. Deng Yao didn't know whether she should leave or stay, so she quickly scrambled for a topic. You're Auntie Li's son, right?" "Yeah, I am. And, you must be Deng Yao?" "Huh? You know me?" "Yeah, we've actually met before. It was that time you were out grabbing food with Yang Qifan. We bumped into each other at the restaurant." Deng Yao thought back to 3 years ago. Looking closely at Yi Hao's face, she asked, "Wait, wasn't that like 3 years ago?" "Yeah, it was during the New Year. It was one of those rare times I came back from Shenzhen, and we just happened to run into each other." Deng Yao let out a laugh, her entire body visibly relaxing. "Wow, what a crazy coincidence. I can't believe we've actually crossed paths before. I was just wondering to myself, who's the handsome guy visiting Auntie Li's house today? Here, this is my business card. My WeChat is right on there. If you ever want to know anything about yoga, just hit me up. I actually run a yoga studio at the mall just down the street. How about we add each other on WeChat right now? That way, it'll be easier to keep in touch." "Yeah, let's definitely add each other then. Anyway, thank you so much for catching me just now. If I had taken that fall face first, I'd probably be completely disfigured right now." "No worries, just lending a hand. We're all neighbors, after all. Speaking of which, are you interested in yoga at all?" "Yoga? Well, actually I used to look into it, but my job in Shenzhen was just way too busy. I was constantly working overtime, so I never got the chance to practice." Hearing Yi Hao say this, Deng Yao's eyes lit right up. She immediately invited him, "Oh, that's perfect. Since you're interested, I can give you a pass to my yoga studio. It's a trial pass, if you'd like to come and give it a shot." Hearing this, Yi Hao started calculating in his head. He figured this would be the perfect excuse to get close to Deng Yao, making it a lot easier to help Yang Qifan get back together with her. So, he nodded and said, "Sure thing. It just so happens that I've resigned, so I have plenty of free time every day." "That's awesome. Let's head over right now then. I'm actually on my way to the studio for work anyway. I'll give you a ride." Deng Yao flashed her Mercedes car keys. Seeing the logo, Yi Hao thought to himself, "She really has made quite a bit of money. No need, I've got my own car. I'll just drive my car and follow right behind you." "Alright then, let's head downstairs first." Yi Hao grabbed his trash bag from the ground, and the two headed downstairs one after the other. Once they reached the neighborhood gate, he tossed his trash out first, then pulled out his car keys and unlocked the gray Xiaomi SU7 parked by the curb. The headlights flashed twice. Deng Yao stopped in her tracks. staring at the Xiaomi SU7 in surprise. She turned to Yi Hao. Wait, this car is yours? Yi Hao glanced back and gave a casual nod. Yeah. Yep, just bought it yesterday. Deng Yao walked over to the car, circled around it, and gasped, you just bought it? No wonder it looks so brand new. You really don't see many of these cars in this small town. I didn't expect you to be so young and successful too. It's nothing special, but thanks for the compliment. Yi Hao hopped into his car and Deng Yao took one last look. Before getting back into her own white Mercedes, she couldn't help but think to herself, for Yi Hao to afford a Xiaomi SU7 at around 30 years old, he must be pretty capable. Unlike Yang Qifan, who couldn't even afford a basic car, she quickly shook off those thoughts and drove out of the neighborhood. Yi Hao followed steadily right behind her. The two cars soon arrived at Yuntai City Mall, pulling up and parking right by the entrance. After getting out, Yi Hao met up with Deng Yao. She pointed at the mall and said, let's go. My yoga studio is right up there on the 5th floor. Come on, I'll take you up. Two then walked side by side toward the entrance. As they walked, Yi Hao looked around the mall. He remembered how absolutely packed it was when it first opened 6 years ago. But now, after seeing those massive malls in Shenzhen, looking at this place again, it just felt like a miniature version. And the crowd was pitifully small. Stepping inside the mall, the first floor lobby was completely dead. There wasn't a single customer at any of the clothing stores. The staff were either zoning out or scrolling on their phones. Yi Hao glanced around, sighing inwardly that all the young folks in this small town had moved away. The people left behind naturally didn't have much spare cash for shopping. By the way, I'm actually pretty curious. Did you pay for that car in full, or did you get a loan? Paid in full. I just don't like being tied down by a loan. Just thinking about paying it back every month gives me this invisible pressure. Right? Hey, it really is like that. The days of paying off a mortgage every month are tough. But, being able to shell out nearly 300 grand in cash for a car all at once, that's pretty rare in a small town like Shaocheng. A lot of people wouldn't even dare to buy one on an installment plan. I guess it's alright. I think I'm just pretty average. Ha ha ha, saying that makes you sound a bit like you're humble bragging. But I guess everyone just has different perspectives. Yi Hao didn't say anything else. The elevator also happened to reach the 5th floor. Reaching the 5th floor, the two of them walked down the corridor and arrived in front of a beautifully decorated yoga studio. A golden sign hung at the door, reading Yao Yao Yoga. Deng Yao took out her keys to open the door, stepped aside, and said, please come in. Yi Hao stepped into the yoga studio, finding it bright and airy inside. It was surrounded by floor-to-ceiling glass windows. In the hall, 7 or 8 female students were getting ready. Every single one of them was wearing tight yoga clothes. Yi Hao stood frozen in place for 2 seconds. He just felt like his eyes weren't enough to take it all in. Looking at these students with such great figures right in front of him, Yi Hao couldn't help but raise an eyebrow, exclaiming in his heart that he had arrived in paradise. Just then, Deng Yao walked up to his side, and asked with a smile, hey, what are you looking at? Oh, I'm just checking out the environment. It looks pretty plump, pretty free. Oh, no, I mean pretty clean and bright. It feels really comfortable. Sigh, a grown man like you coming to my place is like throwing a wolf into a flock of sheep. Later on, don't go having any inappropriate thoughts about my students, okay? Don't worry, I'm here to experience yoga. I can't be thinking about other things while I'm learning. Deng Yao didn't say any more. She turned around and introduced the class schedule to the students. She also introduced Yi Hao as a new trial student. The students replied in unison, okay. But their eyes kept sizing Yi Hao up and down. A few of them even covered their mouths and giggled. Looks like they all really like you. Coming here is quite the lucky break with the ladies for you. Hey, what are you saying? Could a guy like me, Yi Hao, be that kind of person? Alright, with you saying that, I'm relieved. Deng Yao clapped her hands. She walked to the front and started leading everyone in yoga. Yi Hao was placed in the very last row, wearing a t-shirt and sweatpants. He didn't change into yoga clothes. The class started with simple stretching and breathing exercises, but when it came to poses like downward dog, warrior 2, and triangle pose, Deng Yao and the students did them perfectly and effortlessly, while Yi Hao's legs were shaking like crazy. When bending over, his fingers were still miles away from his toes. Doing side stretches, he looked more like a stiff wooden plank. Yi Hao couldn't help but complain in his head, how on earth do you even train to do these yoga poses? As a programmer who had been working for 6 years, he spent every day either sitting or lying down. His flexibility was basically zero, but he still gritted his teeth and pushed through, even though his poses looked terrible and it was genuinely painful. But the moment Yi Hao looked up, seeing rows of beautiful body curves right in front of him, and smelling the faint fragrance in the air, he completely threw the soreness out of his mind for a moment. He somehow managed to hold on until the very end. Alright, that's the end of our class for this afternoon. Great job, everyone. The students all got up to pack their things and started leaving one by one. Yi Hao stood frozen in place, only feeling that every single muscle in his body was groaning about how incredibly sore his inner thighs and lower back were. He finally realized that yoga might look easy, but actually doing it is absolute torture. After catching his breath for a moment, he stepped out of the studio to go buy some water. Yi Hao scanned his phone at the vending machine, bought a bottle, and took 2 huge gulps before he finally felt alive again. He headed back with his water, but just as he reached the door, he heard Deng Yao talking to a student. Sister Zhang, just a heads up, your quarterly pass is expiring next month. Do you want to go ahead and renew it? If you do it now, you can still get the original price. I think I'll pass, Instructor Deng. I've pretty much gotten the hang of it. And my kid has final exams coming up, so I need to stay home and keep an eye on them. Yeah, I'm not renewing either. My husband says our living expenses are way too high lately, and told me to start budgeting. Oh, that's completely fine. If you ladies ever want to come back, you're always welcome. In the end, only 2 or 3 students actually renewed. Once everyone had left, Yi Hao and Deng Yao were the only ones remaining in the studio. Deng Yao stood behind the front desk, flipping through her ledger. As she looked down, she was visibly stressed out. Her brows were tightly knit, and her lips were pressed into a thin line. After turning a few more pages, she let out a heavy sigh. She closed the ledger, and when she looked up and saw Yi Hao, she immediately forced a bright smile. So, how are you feeling after finishing your first class? Honestly, pretty great. I had no idea yoga could be so relaxing. The process was absolute agony, but now that it's over, my body feels amazing. Of course, yoga is all about finding that mind-body connection and letting go of tension. It brings you peace and joy, you know? By the way, how much is it if I want to sign up for a membership? If you just want the basic classes, it's 800 for a whole quarter. I'm not sure if 800 is something you'd be comfortable with. What's wrong? Is the price an issue? No. I just think it's way too cheap. Back in Shenzhen, a single private session would easily cost you a few $100. And you're charging 800 for an entire quarter? Well, my hands are tied, we're in a small county here. People just don't have that kind of spending power. Plus, my little independent studio doesn't have any big brand premium attached to it. So it's totally normal for it to be cheaper. Yi Hao nodded slowly, his eyes falling on the ledger she had just closed. I actually think your classes are fantastic. So why aren't any of those students renewing? I really can't help it. Most of them just come for the novelty of it. They try it out for a month or 2, and then they quit. Very few people are actually willing to put in the work to improve. On top of that, I haven't done any marketing or promotion. Everyone who comes here is basically a local mom from the nearby neighborhoods, strictly through word of mouth. Honestly, with such a tiny, tight-knit circle, they're naturally not very eager to keep paying. Yi Hao quickly put 2 and 2 together. Deng Yao was a great instructor, and her prices were a total steal. The real issue was that nobody even knew this place existed. No foot traffic meant no customers, which meant absolutely zero income. He thought to himself, if he could just help her run some marketing campaigns, her business would definitely boom. And honestly, this might just be the perfect investment opportunity. At that thought, Guan Jilin suddenly came to Yi Hao's mind. If the yoga studio needed online marketing and operations, that would give Guan Jilin something to actually do. It would also give her a solid reason to stay here in Shaocheng. Making up his mind, he set his water bottle down and looked at her seriously. Deng Yao, I need to talk to you about something. Deng Yao asked what was on his mind. What if I told you I could help you out with marketing and promotions? Would you be open to it? Oh, marketing? I haven't really thought about that before. I think your teaching skills are great, and the vibe here is really nice. Your prices are super affordable, too. There is zero reason you shouldn't be attracting more people. Your only problem right now is that nobody knows this place exists. If we run some marketing campaigns, business will naturally boom. You actually make a really good point. But spending money on marketing costs a fortune, and even if I did spend the money, there's no absolute guarantee people will show up. What if it totally flops? I'm honestly pretty happy with the studio's current profits. It pays the bills. Dropping a chunk of extra cash into it would just be way too stressful. Yi Hao could hear it in her voice. What she was really terrified of was losing money, and she was scared of investing without seeing a return. You don't need to stress about that. I can put up the money to run the marketing. You paying for it? That doesn't feel right. Even though you're a friend of Yang Qifan, we basically just met. If I end up owing you a massive favor like this, I'd never be able to pay it back. I know you're not the kind of person who takes favors lightly. And I'm no charity worker, either. I'm putting up the money because I want a return on it. Then what exactly are you saying? Basically, I want to buy shares in your yoga studio. Buy shares? Yi Hao nodded. Exactly. If you let me take a 40% stake in the studio, I will completely handle your marketing. From the financial backing to the marketing strategies, right down to staffing. I'll get it all sorted out for you. You won't have to lift a finger. No way, a 40% cut is way too steep. This is a small business, I barely scrape by each month as it is. If you snatch up 40%, I'd basically be working for you. No, you're completely ignoring one crucial fact. What fact? Once I help you run this marketing when the studio is packed and memberships are way up, you can raise the prices of your classes, too. Your income then will blow right past what you're making now. Just think about it. If we multiply your current baseline income by several times, or even over 10 times, even if you hand over a 40% share, the cash going straight into your own pocket will absolutely be massive compared to right now. Honestly, I know you're a deeply driven woman. There is no way you're satisfied with these nickel and dime profits right now. Besides, have you ever considered this? If you keep relying purely on your regulars from the neighborhood, sooner or later another yoga studio will pop up right next door. They'll run killer marketing promos and suck all of your clients away. When that happens, what are you gonna do? I'm not saying you'd go completely broke, but are you really willing to just stand by and watch while other people rake in the big bucks in this market, as you settle for scraps in your little corner? What you're saying is definitely tempting, but I still have one big question. Go ahead, can you guarantee the marketing will actually hit those numbers? I will cover every single cent of the marketing investment. If we don't hit our targets, I will gladly eat all the losses myself. But if, after the marketing pushes, your revenue triples its current amount, then I take that 40% share. Deal? Yi Hao would cover the marketing fees, and Yi Hao would carry all the risks. If it totally flopped, she wouldn't lose a dime. If the revenue more than tripled, even if he gives up 40%, the money he takes home would still be more than he's making now. Thinking about this, Deng Yao gazed deeply at Yi Hao. Finally, she slowly nodded and softly said, "Then, I'm in." Her words carried a totally sincere response. Hearing this, Yi Hao broke into a satisfied smile. "Then we have a deal." Deng Yao reached out and shook his hand, smiling as she said, "Happy to be working with you." Right in that moment of their handshake, their partnership was officially established. Yi Hao could feel the soft, warm touch of Deng Yao's hand, and his heart couldn't help but flutter just a bit. After Yi Hao and Deng Yao reached their agreement, Grow, he readily paid the 800 yuan for a quarterly membership. Grow he figured he'd come around often to learn yoga, not only to get in shape, grow but also to pick up some industry knowledge. He thought to himself, grow. Otherwise, if I can't even explain the basic concepts of yoga, GRC, how the hell am I supposed to market it? Grow. Yi Hao walked out the main entrance of Yuntai City and pulled out his phone. It was exactly 3 in the afternoon. Just then, Guan Jilin sent him a WeChat message, "Brother Yi, I just told my mom I'm going out on a date. Can you come out now?" Yi Hao smiled and replied, "I'll tell you when we meet." "Did you just leave the house? Give me 20 minutes, I'll go pick you up." About a dozen minutes later, Yi Hao pulled his car up to the entrance of Guanping Tea House, and from a distance, he spotted Guan Jilin already waiting for him. She was wearing a long, blue-pleated skirt with her hair tied up in a cute bun. Smiling, she waved and said, "Hey, Brother Yi. You looked so handsome pulling up in that car today." The two of them headed to a corner cafe and grabbed a seat by the window. Guan Jilin smoothly recommended a cappuccino and classic macarons for Yi Hao while ordering a latte for herself. Once the coffee arrived, Yi Hao set his cup down and said, "Lin, let me ask you something." "Yeah, Brother Yi, tell me." Yi Hao then asked about Guan Jilin's work experience. Guan Jilin mentioned that she majored in marketing in college and used to do related work at Newbie Interactive Entertainment. She switched to being a receptionist because the pressure was just too much. Sighing, she said, "The pressure from higher-ups was insane. I was working crazy late every single day and the KPIs were set ridiculously high. If you didn't hit them, they'd dock your performance pay. It made me so anxious every single day that I couldn't even sleep well. But, what if I offered you a marketing job right now? Would you be down for it?" Guan Jilin froze for a second, asking if he was hooking her up with a job. Yi Hao nodded and dropped the offer straight up, a monthly salary of 5,000 yuan plus full benefits. Guan Jilin's eyes widened in shock. 5,000 a month? Oh my god, Brother Yi. Where did you even find such a dream job for me? Yi Hao gave a slight smile, explaining that he was the one offering her the job. He had just partnered up with Deng Yao, the owner of a yoga studio, and they desperately needed someone for marketing and promotion. Guan Jilin covered her mouth, gasping, "Wow, oh my god, Brother Yi. You're seriously that rich? You can even start your own company now? It's just a partnership, but the salary is real. Every month, I'll personally pay your full benefits." Officially registered under the yoga studio, Guan Jilin excitedly nodded and agreed on the spot. Marketing and promotion. The underlying logic should pretty much be the same. It's just about finding our target customers, blending online and offline strategies. I can give it a shot. It shouldn't be a problem at all. Yi Hao felt she really understood the concept, so he decided to take her to meet Deng Yao to discuss the operation plan together. But, I haven't really prepared anything today. Would it be a bad idea to just go meet the boss like this? We can go tomorrow. Guan Jilin finally let out a sigh of relief. She decided to head home first to research the yoga industry. Thank you so much, Yi. Not only for treating me to coffee today, but more importantly, for hooking me up with such an amazing job. I'm glad. See you tomorrow. Guan Jilin waved goodbye, skipping happily into her apartment complex. Yi Hao watched her figure disappear, and couldn't help but shake his head with a smile. He thought the way this girl lit up when she was happy was actually pretty cute. After dropping off Guan Jilin, Yi Hao sat alone in his car, planning out his future. He decided to start with Deng Yao's yoga studio, and gradually expand his business empire. He thought to himself, I've got over 70 million on hand, but I can't just keep spending without making any money. A man without a career is just a total loser. Right then, his phone buzzed. It was a text from Lu Yeren. In her message, she asked, Are you free right now? I'd really like you to come over to my place. I need to see you about something. Yi Hao felt a sudden jolt of surprise. He figured he shouldn't keep her waiting, so he replied, Sure, I'm on my way. Then, he opened his GPS, typed in the address for Westlake Pearl Apartments, started up his Xiaomi SU7, and drove off. Yi Hao climbed the stairs to the 4th floor, grabbing the handrail to catch his breath before knocking on the door. When the door opened, Lu Yeren was standing there in a stunning red and black velvet robe. Yi Hao couldn't help but take a look, then quickly darted his eyes away. Lu Yeren smiled and pulled him inside. Come on in, look at this first. This is a special candlelit dinner I prepared just for the two of us today. The dining table was covered with dishes, beef stewed in red wine, garlic lobster, and steamed abalone. There was even scallion braised sea cucumber, all glowing under the light of red candles in the center. Yi Hao asked in surprise if she had cooked it all herself. Lu Yeren proudly replied that she absolutely did. I actually trained at a restaurant for 3 months. From now on, whenever you come over, I can cook for you every single day. Since you've been drinking, it's not safe to drive. Just crash here for the night. Alright then, let's make tonight a night to remember. The 2 glasses clinked together, making a crisp ringing sound. The next morning at 10 o'clock, sunlight peeked through the curtains into the room. Yi Hao woke up, slipped quietly out of bed, and freshened up. Seeing that Lu Yeren was still fast asleep, he leaned down and gently kissed her. He whispered, Yeren, I have some things to take care of at noon. I need to head out now. Lu Yeren groggily mumbled something in response, rolled over, and went back to sleep. Yi Hao got dressed, quietly pulled the door shut behind him, and hurried downstairs with his head low. He suddenly remembered that his middle school buddy, Shang Pan, also lived in this complex, and he was terrified of bumping into anyone. Thankfully, he made it out without any issues. He got into his car, let out a long sigh of relief, and then texted Guan Jilin and Deng Yao, setting up a lunch meeting to discuss the promotion. Meanwhile, Guan Jilin was standing in front of her living room mirror, carefully applying her lipstick. Mother Guan stepped out of the kitchen, seeing her dressed in a light yellow short-sleeved shirt and a white skirt. She smiled and asked if she was going on another date, then urged her, saying, that Yi boy is so tall and handsome. He's got a great job, and he really cares about you. You'd better hold on to him tight, don't let anyone steal him away. We need to get to know each other better first before making any decisions. Meanwhile, in the supervisor's office at Prime Entertainment, Zhang Fugi sat with a cigarette dangling from his lips. He was scolding the new employee, Guan Tongtong, for being too slow. Tongtong just nodded and took it. Just as she was about to leave, she remembered the favor her aunt had asked of her. So she asked if there was a manager in the company named Yi Hao. Why do you ask? He's a relative of mine. Oh, that Yi Hao. He came in a few days ago to process his resignation. And he was definitely no manager. He worked here for 6 years, and was nothing but an average front-end programmer. Why do you ask? Did that guy go back to his hometown and start bragging to your family? Let me tell you, relatives like that, who can't make it in the big city, go running back home, and do nothing but lie and talk big. You'd better cut ties with him as soon as possible, before he drags you down with him. He's really just a regular programmer? Then why the hell is he acting like some rich guy in front of my cousin? He even claimed he bought a house in Shenzhen in cash. That's just a massive lie. Just then, her phone rang. The caller ID showed it was her aunt. Hey there, my sweet niece. That favor I asked you about the day before yesterday, how did the digging go? Did you find out anything? Auntie, I actually just asked about it. That Yi Hao you mentioned? He was never a manager at our company. He was literally just a regular programmer. And on top of that, the day before yesterday, on the afternoon of the 21st, he actually quit his job. Tong Tong, are you absolutely sure about this? He's really not a manager? Yes, Auntie, I asked my supervisor directly. Not only was he never a manager, but he already quit and left a few days ago. He's just an average programmer. Oh, absolutely not. My poor girl is getting scammed by that absolute creep. The world is really going downhill. I knew it, you can never trust a pretty face. They're all just a bunch of liars. Meanwhile, Yi Hao pulled up to the entrance of the tea house in his gray Xiaomi SU7. Guan Jilin was wearing a white skirt and a light yellow short-sleeved shirt, her soft hair cascading over her shoulders. She smiled and waved at him. Hey, Yi, I am completely ready for today. Glad to hear it. Hop in. Jilin slid into the passenger seat. The familiar scent of gardenias drifted through the car once again. As she buckled her seatbelt, she said, Yi. I did a ton of research at home yesterday and brushed up on my knowledge about yoga. I feel like if we market this right. Yeah, that sounds good. Right then, the phone in Jilin's bag suddenly started ringing. The caller ID said, Mom. As soon as she answered, her mother's loud, frantic voice blasted through the speaker. Linlin, you need to come home right now. That guy you went on a blind date with. He's a total scammer. Mother Guan continued, he is absolutely not a manager. He's nothing but an average programmer. And he even quit his job a few days ago. Jilin was completely stunned. She quickly tried to explain, Mom, what are you even talking about? Everything he said is true. It must be Tong Tong who got it wrong. Mother Guan immediately interrupted, what? I got it wrong? That guy used to work at Newbie Entertainment. And Tong Tong just started working there a few days ago. He went out of his way to ask the manager. That's absolutely not what happened at all. Guan Jilin had no choice but to say, Mom, please don't get worked up. Just calm down for a second. I'll explain everything when I get home. After Guan Jilin hung up the phone, she repeatedly declined her mother's incoming calls, sent her a text, and then muted her phone. She leaned back in her seat, looking extremely anxious. Yi Hao asked, what's wrong? Linlin, you look so uneasy. Are you worried about meeting that female boss later? No, brother Yi. It's about what I told my mom earlier. Those things about you. Hearing this, Yi Hao was completely shocked. His grip on the steering wheel slipped for a second, and the front of the car violently swerved. The black Honda next to them was so startled that it jerked out of the way. The driver rolled down his window and screamed, holy crap. How the hell are you driving up there? You got a death wish? So what are you going to do? Are we not doing these blind dates anymore? No way. If I stop doing these blind dates with you, later on, my mom's definitely going to set me up with other guys, and I really don't want to go on blind dates with strangers. We wouldn't even know each other, just sitting there face to face. What's the point of that? It's just way too awkward. Brother Yi, I thought of a plan. She planned to go back in, tell her mom the actual truth about Yi Hao's current situation, and explain. I'll just say that I made all of that up just to get her off my back. I'll tell her you're not a bad guy, and then we can just keep coming out for our dates. Well, that's not a bad idea, but I have a feeling your mom definitely won't be that easy to handle. After all, right now, in her eyes, I'm just a giant scammer trying to kidnap her daughter. Guan Jilin squeezed her hands and said anxiously, but there's no other way right now. We just have to do it this way. The car soon arrived downstairs at Yi Hao's place. Yi Hao parked the car and made a voice call to Deng Yao. Hey, Deng Yao, I'm here, right downstairs. All right, I'll be right down. Not even 2 minutes later, the sound of high heels clicking on the stairs echoed in the hallway. Hello, handsome. Hello, gorgeous. Is this the person you recommended? Who's going to do the marketing for my yoga studio? Should we find a place to sit down and chat? Plus, I know a good spot. The Corner Cafe. Do you know it? Deng Yao thought for a moment and said, oh, that place. I've been there before. The vibe and the drinks are pretty good. So Yi Hao drove ahead to lead the way, with Deng Yao's white Mercedes following closely behind. About 10 minutes later, the three of them arrived at the Corner Cafe. They found a seat by the window. Before the coffee even arrived, Guan Jilin introduced herself first. Hi, my name is Guan Jilin. I've done marketing work for a few years at a tech company in Shenzhen. Deng Yao also smiled and said, hi, I'm Deng Yao. I run the yoga studio. I've tried things like handing out flyers before. It actually works. At least it brought in 20% of my customer base. But still, most of my clients come from word of mouth. Guan Jilin nodded and said, that's completely normal, because the customers you bring in through marketing will naturally bring in even more people through their own word of mouth. The first things we need to rule out are taxi ads and those elevator commercials. Even though those types of ads can bring in pretty decent results, the promotion costs are just way too high. When you calculate the overall return on investment, it's really not that great. And what I'm actually best at right now is using online traffic for promotions, like platforms such as TikTok and Xiaohongshu. So, can my yoga studio be promoted through those online channels too? Basically, yes, there's no problem at all. Besides shooting your own videos and making short video promos, we'll also need to find some Local micro-influencers with some pull to help spread the word. The results will be much better that way. Yi Hao asked, so, do you know any influencers like that? Guan Jilin answered shyly, I just got back to Shaocheng. I'm actually not very familiar with this place. Now, if we were in Shenzhen, I definitely know a few people. Alright, so the plan is pretty much locked in now. Later on, you go with Yao Yao and get those videos shot. As for the micro-influencer thing, I'll figure something out. Guan Jilin smiled and said, then I'll leave it to you, brother Yi. Our boss is so generous. Deng Yao also chimed in to thank him. Thanks for all your help. Once we start making money, you'll definitely get a nice cut of the profits. Oh, no need to be so polite. We're all here to make some cash. I'm just the guy funding this operation. You girls handle the rest of the hard work yourselves. I have a few things I need to take care of first. You two keep chatting. But it's already dinner time. I was just about to offer to treat you guys to a meal. Why are you rushing off? Oh, no need, I actually have plans with a friend this afternoon. Let's grab a bite another day. You guys go ahead and eat, don't worry about me. Yi Hao let the pretty girl observe from the sidelines, while he gave her a quick rundown of the yoga studio and the surrounding neighborhood. The girl saw Deng Yao completely focused on teaching her class, and took a good look at the vibe inside the studio. She finally relaxed, and just straight up asked, so when do we start shooting the videos? You're agreeing just like that? The girl gave a casual shrug. She explained that she came here specifically to talk business. She only hesitated before because there are just way too many scammers online. Now that she saw it with her own eyes, she felt totally at ease. Yi Hao nodded in understanding. He called over Guan Jilin and suggested they head to the corner cafe to iron out the details. Then he asked, how did you get here? Finding out she took a cab, Yi Hao decided he would just drive them over. The three of them walked over to the parking lot at the Intime City entrance. Yi Hao pulled out his car keys. He pressed the button, and a sleek gray Xiaomi SU7 flashed its lights twice. When the pretty girl saw the car, her expression instantly changed. Her eyes widened in absolute shock. She really didn't expect that in a small town like Shaocheng, Yi Hao was clearly no ordinary guy. She was genuinely surprised. She never imagined that the guy who reached out to her online for a collab would not only be this tall and handsome, but also driving a Xiaomi SU7. A little spark of romantic interest crossed her mind, but she quickly pushed it down. She reminded herself to focus on the business deal first. Making money was the real priority right now. Soon, Yi Hao parked his car right outside the corner cafe. Once inside, he generously ordered 3 cappuccinos and some pastries. The gorgeous girl took the lead and introduced herself. Hi, I'm Wu Yuxuan. What a gorgeous name. Guan Jilin then laid out 2 options. First, Yuxuan could act as a student trying out a class. Or second, we shoot a store review video. Wu Yuxuan listened and cheerfully agreed, both sound totally fine to me. I've shot stuff like this before. Yi Hao chimed in, you're the marketing manager. You call the shots. Wow, that sounds exactly like what my old boss used to say, Jilin laughed. Doing the work of 3 people, but still having to act like the big boss. I'm not just feeding you empty promises, we're really just getting started. Yi Hao explained. He promised that once the business took off, Jilin would truly feel the weight of her manager title. Jilin earnestly told him she trusted him completely. Yuxuan, meanwhile, was curious about why the two of them were so close. Yi Hao explained that they used to work together in Shenzhen, at the very same internet company, working side by side for 3 whole years. It wasn't until they moved back to Shaocheng that they realized they were from the same hometown. What a crazy coincidence, Yuxuan marveled. After finishing their coffee, Yi Hao drove, bringing Jilin and Yuxuan all the way back to the Yao Yao yoga studio at Yintai Mall. By then, Deng Yao's afternoon class was only about halfway through. Jilin and Yuxuan didn't waste a single second, and immediately got to work. Yuxuan changed into her yoga gear first, filmed the student experience video, and then changed back into her normal clothes to shoot the store review. Yi Hao occasionally helped out by holding the phone, and they kept at it until 6 in the evening. The video shoot was pretty much a wrap, but once the filming was done, Jilin suddenly found herself in a tight spot because she had absolutely no idea how to edit videos. Yuxuan also usually hired someone else to edit her stuff. Yi Hao just waved his hand and said, "Don't worry, I'll figure something out." Right at that moment, Deng Yao finished her class and sweetly offered to drive the 2 girls home. Meanwhile, Yi Hao drove back all by himself. Once he got home, he had a nice dinner with his parents. After eating, he sat alone on the couch, mindlessly scrolling through his phone. Suddenly, a notification from a local social media page caught his eye. Tomorrow, there's a huge job fair happening at People's Square. Yi Hao's eyes instantly lit up. He figured that instead of searching all over the place, it would be way easier to just hit up the job fair and hire a video editor directly. He grabbed his phone and immediately called the event organizer, asking if there were any open booths left, and explaining that Yao Yao Yoga Studio was looking to hire a short video editor. The organizer told him they had a spot, but he needed to send over their business license for a quick review first. Yi Hao didn't waste a single second. He immediately shot Deng Yao a WeChat message asking for a picture of the license. Deng Yao snapped a photo of it right away and sent it over, which Yi Hao promptly forwarded to the organizer. He then paid the 200 yuan booth fee. Once the organizer confirmed the payment, they sent over his official booth number. And just like that, everything was perfectly set up for hiring an editor. Bright and early the next morning, at 8:30, Yi Hao arrived at the People's Square job fair. He took a quick look around, and noticed that the salaries listed at the other booths were mostly around 2,500 to 3,000. With only 1 day off a week and absolutely no social security. Yi Hao walked over to his empty booth, pulled out a piece of white paper and a marker, and got ready to write down his job offer. Yi Hao boldly wrote down his eye-catching terms on the white paper: a monthly salary of 4,500. Weekends off, full insurance and benefits. No empty promises, and absolutely no overtime. Once he finished, he slapped the paper onto the table, sat back comfortably, and started scrolling through his phone. "Excuse me, is what's written here for real?" "Of course it's real." Two candidates excitedly handed over their resumes right away. Soon, the news spread like wildfire from 1 person to 10. Word spread like wildfire. In less than half an hour, a massive line had formed right in front of Yi Hao's booth. The boss next door, who was trying to hire waiters, stared at the huge crowd at Yi Hao's stand. He could only stare in pure envy. Just then, a female boss from a media company, wearing a sharp red suit, suddenly stormed over. She pointed straight at Yi Hao and screamed, "You scammer." She yelled that it was absolutely impossible for anyone in the university town to offer such amazing pay. She accused him of stealing personal info or running a pyramid scheme. The big-bellied boss next door, the one hiring waiters, immediately chimed in, aggressively accusing Yi Hao of ruining the job market. The crowd in line started to doubt him. A few young people even thought about leaving. Yi Hao just let out a cold laugh and shot back, "I'm using my own money to hire my employees. I offer perfectly legal pay. Just because you cheapskates can't afford an 1,800 base salary, doesn't mean others can't pay 4,500. You guys aren't looking for workers, you're looking for slaves." The woman in the red suit refused to back down. She screamed at Yi Hao, daring him to show everyone a real contract. Yi Hao completely ignored her. He turned to Li Ming, who was standing right by the desk, and said, "I'm really impressed with your qualifications. The job is yours." Li Ming was absolutely thrilled. He immediately promised that he would work his hardest. Yi Hao pulled out 2 official employment contracts. The salary and benefits were written there, crystal clear. After reading it over carefully, Li Ming didn't hesitate. He signed his name and stamped his fingerprint. Yi Hao signed it too, and stamped it with the yoga studio's official seal. The whole thing took less than 5 minutes. The woman in the red suit and the other bosses were completely dumbfounded. The job seekers finally realized that Yi Hao was the real deal. The crowd instantly went wild. They furiously turned on those shady bosses, calling them out. Some people even whipped out their phones to record them. Terrified, the bosses kept their heads down and scurried back to their own booths. Meanwhile, Yi Hao packed up his things. He tore down the hiring poster, getting ready to leave. "All positions are filled. Good luck finding a great job, everyone." Then, he told Li Ming to bring his gear and start work tomorrow. He confidently strode out of the plaza and hopped into his Xiaomi SU7. He stepped on the gas and headed straight home. Once he walked through the door, Yi Hao told his parents the great news: he had already hired someone. And they were starting work tomorrow. But his dad, Yi Jiangguo, was worried he was burning through cash too fast. He warned him that business is risky. His mom, Li Hongmei, also begged him to save at least 1 million as a safety net. Yi Hao put on a serious face and promised, "Don't worry, I won't do deals that lose money." Just then, someone knocked on the door. Yi Hao opened it to see who it was. It was their neighbor, Deng Yao. She was standing there in a cute pink yoga outfit, looking a little shy. I'm out of groceries," she said softly. "Could I borrow a couple of eggplants?" Yi Hao immediately went to the kitchen and grabbed them for her. But the entryway floor had just been mopped. Suddenly, Deng Yao slipped. With a panicked scream, she fell right toward Yi Hao. He instinctively reached out and caught her in his arms. The air instantly filled with awkward tension. Deng Yao's face turned bright red. She scrambled back in a panic, grabbed the eggplants, quickly mumbled a thank you, and bolted straight back to her apartment. Yi Hao just brushed off his shirt and turned to close the door. But when he looked up, he saw his mom standing right around the corner. She had a huge, teasing smirk on her face. "Wow, someone's a lucky guy," she teased. Yi Hao rolled his eyes and quickly explained, "Mom, seriously. She just slipped." Desperate to change the subject, he complained that he was starving. His mom just laughed, shaking her head, and went into the kitchen to serve dinner. "Yi Hao, you are seriously amazing. The results are this good on the very first day. I really don't know how to thank you." But Yi Hao just waved his hand, motioning for her to sit down first. "Don't celebrate just yet. I came to see you today. to figure out our next steps. With so many people asking about classes, even if only half of them actually sign up, we're still looking at dozens of new students. Can you handle teaching all of them by yourself? No way. If we really get that many people, I'll absolutely work myself to death in the studio. Plus, space is limited. We'd definitely have to split them into several classes. Yi Hao nodded in agreement, knowing the real pressing issue was already right in front of them. Exactly, Grok. So our top priority right now is to expand. Grok, we need to hire new yoga teachers immediately to come help teach. I have a really close best friend. We actually trained in yoga together. Grok, her skills and professionalism are absolutely top-notch. And she's definitely just as good as I am. But she's been working in another city for a while. She recently moved back to town for a break. If I ask her to come help out with the classes, I'm sure she'd be down for it. Well, what are you waiting for? Call her right now. Time is money. Clients won't wait around for us. Deng Yao grabbed her phone and immediately dialed her best friend's number. It rang a few times before she picked up. Loud, thumping music could be heard in the background. Deng Yao quickly explained the situation over the phone and asked if she'd be interested in working together. Her friend sounded really excited about the idea. After chatting for a few minutes, Deng Yao hung up. So, how did it go? Yi Hao asked immediately. She's in. She said she's actually looking for something to do right now, and teaching is absolutely no problem for her. That's fantastic. When can we meet her to discuss the exact pay and class schedule? She said we can meet up to talk today at 2 p.m. But the meeting spot is a little unusual. It's at a cocktail party over at Minchi Mansion. Deng Yao explained that her best friend is super outgoing and really loves to party. Right now, she's having drinks and hanging out with a bunch of friends at the reception. She added, she told us to just come find her there at 2 p.m. No problem, then it's settled. Go ahead and get ready.